Welcome to Deep Thought. Being teachable is important. Let me say that again. Being teachable is important. Now, I talked in a previous podcast about ignorance really isn't bliss. Knowing everything around you. Sometimes you have to be taught it. Yes, self-knowledge is great. I advocate that. I advocate it. A significant portion of the knowledge I have is self-taught. I've always been that type ever since I was little. I was that 8-year-old kid who had an encyclopedia said bought for him by his dear grandmother. So, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't possibly teach yourself everything. There's always something that you're going to have a teacher for. Somebody has got to show you. You have to be teachable. What teachable means is you can receive that information from someone and they can explain it to you in an intelligent way where you can not only receive the information, but you can think of it on your own and then apply that information in the necessary manners. This is very important. And this is very important, just being teachable. There are a lot of people out there, they don't learn anything because they're not teachable. And this goes beyond being in some formal classroom. That's one thing. But sometimes you can learn something just from an acquaintance, just from a friend. You can learn something from an elder. They can teach you something. They can tell you something that you didn't know. They can tell you something new. And it's important as you grow to be a student. Yes, you want to be a teacher at some point, but you got to be a student first. Like I'm thinking about a lot of stuff. Okay, like on my men's channel, I talk about body game, primary self-development for men. On my woman's channel, I talk about from a man's perspective what men respond to. It's important not just to listen to what I say on these channels, but to receive it, to learn it. Especially if you don't know it yourself. Now, if you know it yourself already, then you can agree or disagree or present your own philosophy. That's cool. But you need to be able to learn it because a lot of people, you will tell them stuff and they don't get it. They're not listening. They're not listening, yet they want just what you're offering, which is why they're reaching out to you anyway. But you have to be able to learn it. You have to be able to humble yourself. Let me use myself as an example again. Now, people on my men's channel, they saw, I have the video, the channel trailer video of me, working out in the gym with content creator cousin T-Tall. He was teaching me some stuff. Now, despite I'm being older than him, I wasn't like, well, I know everything and I work out myself. I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, okay, and applying what he was teaching. And that's what works for me. And indeed, I thought about that example because on the day that I'm recording this podcast, I was just at the gym and there's a gentleman in there and he always does different exercises. He's in excellent shape. When I say excellent shape, he's one of those guys, I'm guessing his age is in his 40s. I'm guessing. He had a little bit of gray hair, but he is fitness model built. And I notice everything you do. In fact, he'll actually guide some people unofficially on their exercises. And I was watching him, and, I could still say I'm his elder, but then I'll say, what's he doing? And I'll ask him. I'll be like, oh, what is that? How do you do that? And I do that with a lot of people, whether even some people, if they're younger, if they teaching something, I don't have a problem with it because it's all about improving me. But see, when you're teachable, when you open to receive information, then you're not blocking it. You're not defensive. You can learn something and then apply it to your life. But see, a lot of people, they have problems because they want to be know-it-alls. They don't want to, they're not teachable. And my thing is, if you're not going to be teachable, at the very least, be able to do the thing that you want to do. I can understand if you've been taught it already or somehow you learned it on your own. But then it'll be the type of person that you can't see where they're going with anything. Their lives aren't amounting to anything. So you're like, why are you acting this way? You don't know this. You know how to do it. You know how to make money. You know the house of money. I'm serious. But when you learn that, when you take it in, boom. In the sports, they'll call it being coachable. Because when someone is teaching you something, when they're coaching you, when they're giving you information, they're trying to make you better. Indeed, they're really teaching you something if you can surpass your teacher, where the teacher becomes a student and the student becomes the teacher. But you first got to be a student. Then you can become a teacher. Or you got to look at it like I do. I've been a student. I've been a teacher. But I'm actually both. I'm still a student. Until I can explain quantum physics in Mandarin with the perfect accent, I got something I can learn. I got something I got to learn. And it's important that I humble myself to learn it. And that's important for everybody. You want to humble yourself. You want to be that person that can be taught. That's the important thing. Because you want to do this for a better life. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. And I always use the example of speaking, explaining quantum physics in Mandarin. That means I got more to learn. Indeed, as I've said before, I want to be learning until the day I transition. On the day I'm transitioning, 10 minutes before it's happening, I want to be saying, hey, that's an interesting news item. I didn't know that. I love learning new things. And I don't mind being teachable. I don't mind. I look for stuff to learn from. Everybody else needs to be the same way. It's important that you remain teachable. And then the thing is, once you are teachable, once you learn stuff, then you can go back and teach. Y'all see the cycle there? I want y'all to really think about that, all right? And that's all I have for now. Peace and blessings.